What's up, everybody? Welcome to Snail Mail. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody out there. Hopefully everybody's gearing up to have a fun weekend. If you're in the Northern California region, hopefully you're gearing up to go snow wheeling this weekend at some point.
Yeah.
I know I'm not, because I don't have my alternator back yet. But
if you're in the PNW area, hopefully you are not flooded.
Yeah. Hopefully. Cross your fingers.
Jeez. I saw there's a swell warnings.
Okay.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
There's the tide is going to be higher than normal.
Oh, wow.
Because of this storm.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Crazy.
All right.
So hopefully everybody's doing okay up there. Hopefully you guys are all good. We're just getting pummeled by some rain down here.
Yay.
And snow in the mountains.
Snow in the mountains.
Whoop, whoop.
So I'm excited.
Only
Wheeling
storm of
season
the year.
starting. So, what?
It's the only storm of the year.
Yeah, I hope not. Wheeling season is here, though. So
yep,
that's always
wheeling
good.
season is gone.
No. All right, shall we get to some voicemails?
Let's do it. Yeah, if you guys want to call in and be a part of this fun, wonderful episode, Snail Mail, you can do so. 916-345-4744. Give us a ring. Tell us almost anything you want. We've only screened now. Well, we have screened a few calls because for time's sake and trying to catch up. But that's pretty much the only reason. And leave us a message, do a promotion, talk about something, ask us to help you diagnose a problem with your vehicle, whatever it is. 916-345-4744.
Cool. First caller up is our buddy from Montana that sent us a Greek license plate.
Yeah. Nicholas Moose.
Here we go.
Ramsey Racing.
Hey, what's up, guys? Nick from Montana. Glad you got my package.
I touched
and
his
also
package.
the stuff that I sent you. That is the Greek license plate. It was on a Latta that my father-in-law still owns. We maybe own. Nobody really knows. Paperwork's not really a thing that happens in Greece very often. So we may end up owning a Latta somewhere if somebody knows where it is. And that other plate is from the best ambulance I ever drove, and I saved it before. I saved the plates off of it before it went to the crushers because the doors literally fell off of a 700,000 mile 7.3 liter ambulance. So that's the story behind those guys. And I'm still up here doing stuff, recovering from knee surgery, and wishing to get back outside. Something else we talked about, or you guys kind of touched on, like therapeutic recreation, people with disabilities and that kind of stuff, getting out and doing stuff outdoors. I'm a huge proponent of that. I work with a bunch of different charities and organizations that do that here in Montana. So I go ice climbing with people that that have adaptive equipment needs, whether they're missing arms, legs, or blind, all of that. It's pretty crazy. I got a paralyzed dude to climb a frozen waterfall, and that was pretty awesome, just like to see him camp us up.
That's rad.
But I think it's important, like the woods and the mountains, like give you that, it gives you a sense of connection to the world around you. And it's a place where like your credit score doesn't matter. Like nobody gives a shit. Like who cares what car you drive? And somebody growing up in Silicon Valley, it's refreshing. It's why I live here. Even if it is 40 below sometimes and you have to fight grizzly bears. Anyway, love you. Proud of you. See you later.
Yeah, the adaptive outdoor equipment for people that have missing limbs, they're paralyzed, whatever, in wheelchairs, and be able to do some outdoor recreational activities is so impressive. There's a adaptive recreation center. I forget the name of it, in Southern California. That is one of my favorite donations every year from Morphlate. They reach out to us. They do a end of year raffle, and they do a couple events throughout the year that Morphlate supports. I actually ran into them at King of the Hammers.
Oh, cool.
One year. Their booth was across the aisle from our booth, and I was like, That's some really cool engineering, like custom engineering stuff that you guys make for people with disabilities to get outdoors. And so ever since I ran into them at Hammers, they've been one of my favorite donations every year for more flight. But it's the adaptive stuff for outdoor recreation is such cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we're in a time that we're able to help and design and build and do these things so that everybody can enjoy the outdoors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
cool. Thanks, Nick, for calling in. I think we have another one from him.
I believe we do. It's the same phone number. So
yeah,
I need to just save his phone number in here as a name. That way I can see it. Here we go. See what he says. Round 2.
Hey, it's Nick again. I forgot. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. Everybody knows me as something different.
I'm going to call him something different.
Not really by design. I have ADHD and don't know what to call myself. And like the therapeutic recreation stuff, I like talk about ice climbing, but I also go fishing with a bunch of veterans, especially like post 9/11 combat vets. We all go out and make fun of each other and literally zip tie fishing rods, fly rods to dudes' stumps because they don't have hands. And like figure it out. And I think that being able to enable people to do what they want to do makes more sense once you see it start to happen. So like vehicular access, off-road vehicles and that kind of stuff, being able to get out and like go wheel the Rubicon or down in Moab and do Trail Hero, like all that kind of stuff. Especially for those of us that have like served the country and, you know, have buddies that are dead that can't participate in these activities. Like, there's a strong sentiment in the veteran population of like, fuck it, I got to go and have fun and live a life that honors the sacrifice of my buddies. And you can't do that all the time in a wheelchair if you want to go out and explore the mountains. Sometimes you need a vehicle to do it. And there's tracked wheelchairs and that kind of stuff. They sort of suck. Honestly, the best way to get a lot of these guys around is using side-by-sides and literally just backpacking dudes, piggyback rides down into the river. So like it's important to keep those trails open and to let people enjoy them however they need to enjoy them. Anyway, that's all. I don't think I'm going to call back, but we'll see. I'm almost home now.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Funny Moose, Nick, Ramsey Racing, whatever. Something different.
Yeah.
I think you said it great.
I think you said it great too. And that's a big major concern. Granted, people with disabilities trying to enjoy our recreational trails is such a low percentage of the population of people enjoying the trails, but it's not one to be discredited at all, especially for the people that have gone out and became disabled because of serving their country. They come back and their country is essentially saying, fuck you. You don't get to go out and enjoy the outdoors because of your disability.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Thanks for supporting the country and fighting for all the freedoms. And we're going to take this away.
Exactly. Right. And it sucks. And it's a low percentage, but it's a major concern.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really hope that, we can stop the closures of public lands, and stop these land grabs, for one of those major reasons. Cause if we're just immediately locking out a whole, community from being able to enjoy the outdoors, that's wrong in my opinion. Very
Agreed.
Wrong. So
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Nick, you said it great too,
man.
Yeah. You nailed it.
Yep. All right. Next caller. Johnston from Maryland? Question mark. We'll see if this voice to text got it right.
What's going on, fellas? It's John from Maryland. I just listened to your oil change saga, and that's pretty bad. So I know I'm going to get flack for this, but on my 18 Ram 2500 with the Cummins in it, the oil filter is in the wheel well. Kind of sounds similar to yours, but to pull it out, you have to turn it perpendicular and pull it sideways out a hole. And the first time I did it, I bought this thing supposed to screw into it, so it clogs it, pull it out, and it didn't hold worth nothing. I spilled oil everywhere. Now I take an old grocery bag, shove it down in the hole, drop the oil filter in the hole, and then close up the bag real tight and pull it out. Dump oil all inside the grocery bag. Sweet design. Excited to hear how your F350 is. Hopefully it's better. But hearing how your past two Ford vehicles have done it, I'm not holding my breath. So, all right, fellas, keep going. Bye.
Yep. That's funny.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Like, it's the most common maintenance thing done to a vehicle, and engineers cannot figure out how to make it easy and simple and quick to do.
Yeah.
Like,
you would think that, I mean, understand packaging into a vehicle is a necessity.
Yeah.
But if you have to get your hands on something once every few months to work on it, that should be at a place where you can get your hands onto it.
Yeah.
Not a place that you have to like disassemble more things or take the wheel off or whatever, is entitled. Yeah. Like, I understand taking the skid plate off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But more than that, I think is too much.
I think, in my opinion, with how, I don't want to say big engines are getting, but just how crammed in engine bays are becoming, just don't put the fucking filter on the block anymore. Have a remote mount location for oil filters from the factory.
Yeah.
Like, it would make everybody's lives so much easier.
Yeah. And you get a little bit more oil storage and a little bit of cooling capacity.
I don't know, man. Anyways, yeah, I'm not holding, again, I agree, Sean, I'm not holding my breath for the 350, considering how the Bronco's a pain in the ass. The F-150 was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Not holding my breath on 350.
We did have a few people send in some ideas on the Facebook group and some text messages about, what do they call I want to say it's FOMO, but it's not what it is. The drain spouts that you have, you push something in and it creates a hose immediately and it opens the valve. Oh. And we had the like ball lock style.
Yeah, the ball lock one.
So we appreciate those, but I think that hose system is kind of interesting. I might want to try that one myself.
And for the drain plug, that works. Usually I can live with the drain plugs. I can figure out a system to deal with those. Now that I know the Bronco's drainage issue, that it just sprays out onto the tire.
Yeah, right.
I can just have a piece of cardboard ready to deflect it, right? Or something. Mm-hmm. The oil filter is the big issue, in my opinion, with the vehicles. Like, I'm just like, come on. What are you guys doing?
You don't really need to change it.
Yeah. Anyways, Sean called back.
Okay.
So let's see what round number 2 brings.
Hey, it's Josh from Maryland again.
Josh?
I forgot. I also installed this Fruto valve that replaces my drain plug, and it's just a valve. So when it's closed, it locks in a closed position. So there's no way for it to wiggle loose or anything like that. And it's easy to control. With the truck, it dumps so much oil. Drain back up into the hole. It overflows like the tank or hitting the reservoir. But now I just open this thing up. You can control the speed of how you want it to dump. They might make one that's like a 90 for your Bronco. But your Bronco is in a weird spot too. But it's awesome. The thing's sweet. It's replace the drain plug, makes oil changes super easy. I don't have to go grab a tool or anything. It's awesome. So I forgot about that, but there you go. Keep that to look up. Again, keep going. See?
Yeah, agreed. The Bronco drain plug is like like the 4Runner's drain plug is on the bottom of the oil pan, right?
Yeah.
The Bronco's drain plug is kind of up on the side of the oil pan a little bit.
Interesting.
So I would need to get a valve that has a 90-degree elbow to it. And that would, I think, work great.
Yeah.
But
or
that would solve the problem of it spraying onto the tire.
Yeah. Or you just have a pipe.
Yeah.
Or a tube that before you open it, you
I
slide
put
the
it
tube
onto the end of the valve.
on the end of the valve, and then you can turn it and point it wherever you want.
Yeah. That may be a thing too. So yeah, definitely options. There's options for the oil drain plug. I don't understand. I don't know any options for the oil filter other than doing a relocation.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah. I don't know. Crazy. Well, thanks for calling in, John.
Yep. All right. So next one is Tom Clinkingbeardsstrong.
Yeah. Tom.
Yeah. He helped me a lot. So I was having issues with my breaker again.
Okay.
My breaker kept half tripping with the new breaker in it, and he's an electrician.
Yes.
So I was just like, hey, let me just run this by you and see if you can have any ideas that I'm missing. And we went over the whole electrical circuit, what's on the circuit, all this other stuff. And he goes, honestly, you have a stupid breaker in there. So it's a combo breaker. It's an AFCI and GFCI combo breaker. And he goes, out of all the house calls that we do, all the calls that we get, about 80% of them are because those combo breakers fail. They're really badly made. And a lot of the problems get solved by just getting rid of the combo breaker. I was like, okay, I'll try it out. I'll go buy another breaker and put it in. That's not a GFCI. It's only AFCI.
Okay.
Put it in. Haven't had an issue since I put it in.
Nice. Good.
So huge shout out to Tom for helping with that. Unfortunately, it sounds like California code is going to be changing here shortly to say that the type of circuit that circuit is in my house is going to have to be on combo breakers in the near future.
That's why you sell your house as is.
Sell it as. Yep. So just FYI, if you're having half tripping issues with your breakers, look and see if it's a combo breaker, a GFCI, AFCI combo breaker. And if it is, fucking get rid of it if you don't have any water things on that circuit near water, I should say. So, all right, Tom.
Wow, what did Tom say?
Yep. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Tom with Clinkingbeardsstrong again. Calling because I was just listening to your SnailMail episode where you were talking about the differences in the 22RE wiring harnesses. And I feel like I have a little bit of a dispute there, but I'm also, for selfish reasons, curious what else you might know about them. As far as the dispute, I suppose, is that resistor you were talking about, from my understanding, only affects the fuel injection or the fuel injector resistance. So I feel like you had mentioned that it also affects the mass airflow sensor and the throttle position sensor and all that, but maybe I'm completely wrong. That's just what I gathered from scouring over those wiring diagrams the last couple months. And the selfish reasons I was talking about is I acquired an 85 extra cab RE turbo two-wheel drive truck, and I've been trying to get it to fire for the last couple months, and I can't get it to fire. And I'm curious if you guys might have a direction for me to go in. So I have a known good computer, I have a known good fuel injector resistor, known good igniter, distributor, and injectors. And I cannot get the computer to tell the injectors to fire. So I'm curious if you guys know what other systems in there actually tell the computer to tell the injectors to fire, because I think that's the problem that I'm having, is the computer thinks that there's a fault somewhere and it won't send power to them so that it's not fueling the engine. Either way, figure you guys might be able to help with that, or maybe one of the listeners might be able to. But thanks again, guys. You guys are doing awesome. Appreciate it all. We'll talk to you again later.
Good stuff.
Yeah, a few things to unpack there.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the resistor.
Yep.
I think there's a few resistors in that mix, right? Because I mean, they're those big, like, D-size battery resistors.
Almost. Well, that's a big square thing with a huge heatsink on it. is the specific resistor I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That he's 100%. It definitely does run the fuel system because the injectors in the earlier years are, I believe, 13.5 ohm injectors. And the ones in later years are 3 to 3.5 ohm. So it's like a 10 ohm resistor. That big square thing with the heatsink on it.
Yeah.
I do know that in the later years is also when they changed that TPS. So there's 2 different TPSs you can run the throttle position sensor for the 22RE.
Yes.
And it's at that same timeline of when they switched over to the higher resistance injectors because they got rid of that big resistor that's external to the system.
Right.
So that's a good question. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know for sure if that big 10 ohm resistor had anything to do with the TPS and the MAF. I just know that it was at that same model year when they switched over the fuel injection system to the higher ohms on the injectors that they also switched over the TPS.
Got it. Okay.
So there's that one.
Yes.
Second one.
Diagnostic question.
For a 22RE turbo.
Was it a turbo? You said turbo?
Yep.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah. I have no experience with turbos. I understand the concept of how they work. So I don't know if a 22RE turbo wiring is different. The electrical is different than a regular 22RE. So I'll start by saying that.
Okay.
If assuming they're the same wiring, and it's just literally a matter of getting spark, what happens is the computer sends a signal over to your the igniter, and then the igniter sends the signal to your distributor. Your distributor distributes that signal to your spark plugs, which then arc and creates spark in a specific firing timeline according to your timing.
Right.
My issue, and this was, it threw me off for a while trying to track this down and figure out what happened, is that signal line that goes essentially from the ECU over to your igniter goes right over your exhaust manifold. And what happened with me was that line got cooked inside of the insulation, and the line was broken inside the insulation that I couldn't see. It took having to do connection tests between the ECU and the igniter to find that line, that wire was broken.
It was bad. Yeah.
It was a bad wire, and I had to redo that wire on mine.
Yep.
So, that if you know you have a good igniter, a good distributor, your timing is correct, and you're still not getting spark, and you know the ECU is correct, I check into the wires check you have connectivity between the ECU and the igniter, and then connectivity between the igniter and the distributor.
Yeah. My big question is about the ECU and whether that, like, it's a known good ECU, but is it known good for that year, make and model of that vehicle?
Yeah.
And it all comes down to the exact thing that started this conversation, which I'm totally blanking on the name of it. The heat sink thing. What was that?
The resistor.
The resistor. Mm-hmm. If it was pre-exister or post-exister, then it's running differently.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to make sure that you have the right ECU for that, for the setup of that engine.
Yeah.
From there, I would start trying to diagnose each system individually. Mm-hmm. Like, are you getting spark?
It sounds like he's not getting spark. That's the main issue.
But he is getting fuel. Like, so I don't know the answers to these, but that's where I would go down. Like, are you getting fuel? Yes or no? Are you getting air? Yes or no? Are your valves moving? Yes or no? Mm-hmm. Are you getting, I don't know if we talked about spark, but I didn't know if I said it during that period. Then you could dive into which one is not working.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can start figuring out, going backwards, like Tyler was sort of talking about, figuring out like, so I'm not getting spark. Is my distributor spinning?
Mm-hmm. Work your way backwards.
Work your way backwards and figure out which one's not exactly working? If all of them are working and it's just not firing, maybe you're 180 off on, the crank.
Usually 180 off is, you still get fire. You just get a bad running. Yeah.
Or maybe something, if all of them were working and it's not running, then there's, you're off somewhere in timeline probably. But so I think I need to know a little bit more to try to help you figure that out. But I would also be concerned about that ECU.
Yeah. And 4-stroke engines, which are what it's in vehicles, do suck, spark, bang, blow. Right. Mm-hmm. So what makes all that happen? Spark, air, and compression.
Yep.
So, and fuel, spark, air, and compression. So test those 4 things, figure out which one you're not getting, and go from there.
Yeah. And the 22 REs are very simple tractor motors.
I love working on those engines.
Yeah. And it all runs off a chain off the crank, and it runs the one overhead cam, right? It's super basic. And so it just comes down to the 4 things, whether they're all 4 working, then all 4 need to be synced, and then it should work. So figure out which one's not working.
Yep. And to track down, it sounds like he has access to all the vehicle wiring diagrams. He said he was sifting through wiring diagrams. Yeah. Factory service manuals have the pinout of your ECU. So assuming you have the correct ECU and everything, you can start checking those connectivity tests between the pins on the back of the ECU and whatever the system is that you're getting to, say the igniter. So
exactly.
Yep. Cool. Do we got time for one more?
I think we got time for one more.
Let's do a quickie.
Yes.
Lance, not the company.
Awesome. What up, Lance?
I haven't heard from Lance in a while.
No, we haven't.
Let's see what he's up to.
Sorry, it's been a minute. I took that job a couple months ago. I'm working nights now, or actually swing, so I start at 2:45 p.m. and I don't usually get off till right before 5 a.m. the next day. So my time is a little bit messed up right now. So, but I was listening to 551, and you guys were talking about, carving out time for yourselves and stuff. And I think the key is to realize that conversation has to be made, period, because of the fact that you don't want to be resentful and you don't want to let it build up to the point where it explodes, and I think it's very important to be able to pull her aside and just talk to her and let her know, look, here's the deal. I'm not asking for you to let me carve out time once a week or, once every 2 weeks for myself. I'm letting you know that's what we need to do. I am very supportive of all the things you do, but this absolutely cannot be a one-sided relationship because, this is kind of how I'm feeling. And I have stuff that I need to get done, and I have stuff that I want to get done. And in order to do those things, I'm not going to be able to do those things unless you allow me to. And, I think we need to have I don't want to come to an impasse. I want to be able to have a two-way street. I'm not asking for a whole lot. I'm really asking for very little. But I don't want to be resentful, and I don't want to be spiteful. I want to have the happy marriage that we signed up for, and this is part of that. So anyway, keep crawling, 6 out of 5 every time, and talk to you guys soon.
That was good timing on that call.
It was. How funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. She took Monday away from me again.
Yeah.
This last week. But I appreciate that. I'm definitely, I think open communication is extremely important in a relationship. Being able to talk about the good and the bad and the hurtful and, the positive stuff. And you have to be able to communicate those things with your significant other. I think that's what makes a long lasting relationship. That's my personal opinion. But going on 3 years or whatever it is. So it seems to be working. I know I'm pretty, fairly new to that game, but I do think communication is extremely important.
Yep.
And, I do need to figure out how to work this out and how to do it with my wife. And, I've got responsibilities that need to be fulfilled, and I either need to rearrange my schedule so that I'm doing something more in the afternoon, whether it's working in the shop in the afternoon, or I have to push back another job so I can work in the shop during the day and do X item in the afternoon, but I need to have that time some point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that's good stuff. I think that's where we're going to end it today.
Yeah. Perfect. 6 out of 5 stars.
Every time.
Love it.
Lance, I miss you calling in, man. Good luck with the new job, buddy.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty rough time schedule, and I think it's going to take a while to get used to, but yeah, good luck, man.
Absolutely. But don't feel bad, Lance, for calling in. This phone just goes straight to voicemail. You're not going to wake Tyler up in the middle of the night. He's probably up at that hour anyway, let's be honest.
Right.
Working with baby Reed there.
Yep.
But if you guys want to call anytime, any hour. Don't worry about it. We're here on the the Pacific Coast side of things, but that phone goes straight to voicemail. That number goes straight to voicemail. So wherever you are in the world, give us a call, 916-345-4744.
I like it a lot. And with that, we'll see you guys on Monday for a fun episode. And then next week is Thanksgiving.
Whoop, whoop. Out we.
The number you have called has been disconnected.